I'm 44 and it's taken me over 20 years to finally get the courage to write a book. Because I didn't want to just write a book just to, oh, you know what? I'm going to be an author. Cool, And then my book is stashed in the corner or underneath the coffee table, trying to keep it, from being wobbly. So it took me a really long time to understand who I was, but also to understand that this is the book I'm going to write. It's going to be a book about women unleashing their inner power.
Welcome to New World Normal, the podcast, where every week we'll talk to guest experts, thought leaders, and everyday people who are disrupting norms and working to create a more inclusive and holistic society. We will talk about the issues that affect us all: environmental, human rights, social issues, criminal justice, education, and the economy. We'll talk about wellness and about food, from how it's cultivated and distributed to how it's prepared and consumed. Basically, we talk about all the systems in our society that aren't necessarily working for the benefit of the many. We'll strategize and collaborate on how we, as a collective, can intentionally make better choices every day that will lead to positive changes in the world around us. If that sounds good to you, stick around and have a listen. And by all means, click like or follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast source. Welcome back to the New World Normal podcast. Today we're talking to Laarni Mulvey. Laarni is a proud Filipino American. She's a women's strength advocate, mind strength coach, author, speaker, and powerlifter. Laarni is also the founder of the Strong and Mighty Company and the global Standing in Strength movement. Known as the Power Lady, she leads women to honor their unique strength. She created the Tools of Strength program to connect the strong mind and the able body. Her Women's Strength Initiative aims to provide access to all realms of strength to her clients. Laarni is a bright light of a human. Her smile and laugh are both infectious, and her desire to help women tap into their strengths is undeniable. Today, we chat about how and why she decided to start her business in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, the importance of paying attention to signs from the universe, the evils of plastic, and nakedness. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me as I'm getting started on this scary venture.
Oh my gosh, you are doing great. You go on lives and stuff like that. I haven't really gone on live lately, but it's, you just got to go through it. You just got to talk.
Keep doing it, right? Yeah. The introvert in me is, why did you think starting a podcast was a good idea?
Because
I have
fun.
It's fun. Well, and that's I love talking to people and learning about people. So I really don't have to talk. I get to listen to you talk.
That's true. That is true. I've enjoyed, I've called it now my pod show. So now instead of a podcast, I call it a pod show. So people can go on the YouTube channel and watch my coffee show, which you need to be on, by the way.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you could repackage it as a podcast pretty easily, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's getting repurposed at the moment, but hey, you know what? I just go with the flow, see what happens.
Provide value. That's what you're doing.
Right.
Lots of good nuggets discussed. So why don't you tell us about that? What have you been up to? And
what have I been up to, Debbie? Let's see. So I held my first virtual summit ever. I did it all by myself. I had to learn how to use all the, how I am with tech stuff.
I was pretty impressed. I was, wow, she pulled this all together. That is impressive.
I did. I had to do a lot of YouTubing, and I had to do a lot of Googling other people's stuff. Oh, okay, I can do it like that. I'm gonna do it like that. But eventually the summit turned out the way it turned out, a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. Because I didn't have any expectations for it. I'm just gonna do it and then see what happens. And then it turned out okay. I had a few hiccups. I had a camera issue too. And I had to redo all the links and to listen and then type and email at the same time.
That's
while keeping eye contact with my speakers and just don't panic, just keep going.
You look like a professional. You looked smooth. I never saw you sweat once.
Oh, that's because I had the AC on cranked up. And I have these lights. I have my video lights that have that little screen so I can't feel the heat blaring at my face
nice.
the whole time. So yeah. Let's see what else. So now I got asked to do a summit for authors. I know an author that has a collaborative group of women in it. And I would love to do your author spotlight. So doing like a mini spotlight summit for her. It's been like really, I mean, as much as I thought I was going to lose my mind and not be busy, I've been pretty busy, which is cool.
Yes, you are very busy. So your book, Standing in Strength.
Yes.
And how did that come about?
My Standing in Strength book, I've always wanted to write a book, right? I'm 44 and it's taken me over 20 years to finally get the courage to write a book. Because I didn't want to just write a book just to, oh, you know what? I'm going to be an author. Cool, And then my book is stashed in the corner or underneath the coffee table, trying to keep it, from being wobbly. So it took me a really long time to understand who I was, but also to understand that this is the book I'm going to write. It's going to be a book about women unleashing their inner power. Because, you know me, I'm a powerlifter, but I love all strength stuff. It just seemed appropriate for me to connect with people who are in athletics, in sport, in movement, anything that got them through obstacles in their life. So I connected with 7 women, and the girl who wrote my foreword, her name is Courtney Olson, Hail Mary request for her. I was like, you know what? She doesn't know who I am. She has a big old company, blah, blah, blah. But I love her message through her company is called girl.com, GRRRL.com. And she's actually the woman with the world's deadliest thighs. She crushes watermelons with her thighs.
My goodness.
Yes. She just set a world record for, I think how many watermelons she crushed in a certain amount of time. And I sent her a message and I didn't think she'd, she's busy. She's a busy CEO businesswoman. She actually sent me a message back and was like, yeah, let's talk about this. I'm interested. And I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
Okay. I was like, okay. And so I'm emailing her back and forth. And she's like, you know what? There's a lot of information here. Why don't you just call me? And I was like, oh my God. Is she going to get to talk to her? And we talked for about 15 minutes. And she goes, I love this. Yes, I'll do it. And I'm like, oh, good. Yeah.
That's so exciting that you take that risk and you get rewarded like that. It's because like you said, the worst she could do is ignore you. Yeah. Or say no. She could have pointed and laughed, but you wouldn't have seen her. So
she could have been like, oh, no, not for me. But even then, at least I would have known.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would rather, I don't know, to choose to either have a no in my face or be ignored. It's like.
And I have to say, I love the way that strength is interwoven through all of your different avenues, both physical and internal, and how it's so needed right now, how we've all had to tap into our inner strength to deal with all the craziness going on in our world.
Yes. Especially the COVID time. Who'd have thought I would have started my business as someone who lost their job and is like looking for a job, but then started a business and enjoys that so much. And okay, I know the money will come. I know the money is coming. But really, when I lost my job in March and I had a job lined up in April, they called me like 2 days before I started on Monday. And they're like, hey, with this COVID thing, I don't really know. We don't really have a contract for you to work. So I'm sorry. All right, fine. I'll take a few more weeks of vacation, whatever. Had another job lined up in June and they did the same thing to me. But this time they called me on the Friday, right before I started on the Monday.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I ever told you that, but yeah, that was like the 2 times I was like, okay, I was going into my career field as an athletic trainer, working in ergonomics. And I was so pissed off. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the hair salon. I'm going to go get my hair done because I'm so pissed. I'm going to go get my hair done. I'm talking to my hairdresser and she was asking me about powerlifting and stuff. And then I was telling her that, women are a lot stronger than they think they are. They should not hold themselves back. And I was just going, just saying all these things about how I believe women need more support to, get out of the corner and be in the limelight. And not to second guess ourselves. And this girl comes up to me who I don't know. She comes up to me and she's like, and I'm still in the chair. And she's like, thank you for that. And I was like,
oh my God.
She's like, I really needed to hear that. I really need to hear that. I need to understand that that I have it in me. I just needed to hear that from someone who probably she didn't know,
Wow. I haven't heard this part of your story. I'm getting a little choked up. That's so nice.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay. And then after this stranger, I have not seen her since, but after this girl comes up and talks to me, I should pay you to come say these things to me in the morning. I go, salon sessions are free, girl. And after she said that, I was like, maybe this is my calling. Maybe I've always wanted, I've always wanted to help people. That's why I was in some kind of medical field, but now this is a different level of helping. And when this girl came and talked to me and said that, I was like, boom, strong and mighty company. Here we go. And it's funny because I've had this logo for my company for 2 years prior.
So you knew.
You
knew inside something was going to happen, and this was just the
kick in
everything
the
aligning, right?
Yeah. And it's just been an amazing journey. But I mean, who would have thought in the pandemic I would write a book? Who would have thought in the pandemic I would have done my summit? Who would have thought all these things that I didn't think I was capable of doing?
Well, in such an important time, for that woman in the salon. And during these times of COVID, you are a light and giving that gift of people telling them, we can do this. We all have this inner strength and we need to get through it together. And it's really challenging to talk about this as the gift as it's been to so many people, that gift of time to focus on this business that's always been in your heart. Mm-hmm. Wow, so many people are experiencing loss. But because you were able to give that gift of light to people in a dark time. So kudos to you. Good job.
Thanks.
Getting out there and doing it.
It's something that I've always wanted. It's funny because I see a journal that I wrote in 2009 or something like that. And the first goal I had was have my own business. I was like, okay, there you go. It's, timing. Timing is just,
is everything. And when the world tells you, no, you don't get that job and you don't get that job. And then someone unsolicited tells you that your message resonates with her. And that's big stuff.
It is. And it boosted my confidence. I mean, I've always had, I shouldn't say always, it took me a long time to build the confidence that I have, but the journey to it, to where, you and I are speaking and have connected, it's been a ride. It's been a ride.
Right. And we're still not too sure what the destination is, right? No. Where is this taking you? But in your heart that this is the message you want to send. So it's all going to work out just as it's supposed to.
That's right.
Because it's definitely resonating. People are following and excited to hear your message. So
I hope so. I mean, I just think that I was talking to another person earlier today about how we're all women with a message being said differently. But it's just some people resonate this way, some other people resonate this way. For me, it's like math. I don't understand math very well. I still count on my fingers. But other people can do math one way and I still have to use my fingers. But we do math, we still...
The answer always comes out the same. There's different ways to get there. And the truth of the matter is you can say something 10 times and someone not hear it and somebody else say it just a little different. And it's going to click for someone. So we need all the voices saying it in all the different ways so that eventually we all get it.
Exactly. It's just, we just have different, our brains are all wired differently.
And it's one thing that I think is really important with the new world normal. It's how we're looking at how we can do things better, whether it's the systems in our society that we want to improve, but really it all starts with us.
Yes.
We have to get ourselves strong and recognize that we can. So it all starts there. So finding your own strength to know that you want the world to be a better place and using your voice.
It's weird now that things are opening back up, how conversations have changed. I feel like for me, I listen more. I mean, I've always liked listening before, but when you're on that conveyor belt of life, you're just like, yeah, yeah, how many conversations have you had? And you're like, yeah,
and not hearing any of it, right?
and now it's so important to have these conversations. It's so important to like just talk with people.
Definitely.
Smile with people, laugh with people,
Now that we can see each other's faces again,
And now that we can see each other's faces again, it's like, okay, well, I really enjoy, just sitting and watching people talk, it's really cool. And I think that's, for me, I make it more of a purposeful conversation. I make it where I'm not going, I do my best to acknowledge humanity.
Say that one more time. You kind of cut out.
I do my best to acknowledge humanity, being a human, being a person, being a stranger. Like I walk my dogs in the morning and I say hi to everybody that walks by. Even when I'm picking up my dog's poop, I'm just like, hi.
It sounds like, oh, awkward. Hey.
Yes. Like, hi, I know I'm picking it up. Right.
We all know what's in this bag.
But I think that's what, I feel less afraid to talk to people.
Well, that is amazing. And the acknowledging humanity is such a big step to building the bridges that we need to in our communities to make the changes that I think a lot of us want to make.
Yes.
To live.
And I mean, it's now we've been in the house so long that now we have this voice that's been like, we can't talk to anybody. Now we like want to talk to everybody.
Everybody. Hi. It's me.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of that before COVID, we always glorified the busy, right? We were always so busy, so busy. We didn't have time to talk and really talk. It was the, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Surface and get back to what I have to be doing because I have to do this, and this. But then once COVID happened and we all were forced to slow down, I know for myself, a little uncomfortable at first, but then, wow, this is kind of nice.
Yes, 100%.
Time to connect with people and the gift of Zoom and connecting with people
all over the place.
And I'm not a techie person either. And so the fact that I've spent so much time on Zoom connecting with people all around the country and around the world, really, these heart-centered entrepreneurs that just want to do better. And it's not that they're focused on the money, oh, we're going to make so much money. It's I have this calling. I have this passion that I want to get in the world and I'll figure out the money eventually, but I need to, which is exactly what you're doing, which is so inspirational and exciting. And for me, it leads right into the type of world I want to live in, where people are using their passions and their gifts to make the world a better place.
Yes.
And it sounds kind of naive and corny, but
it
could happen, right?
It can happen. It may not happen while we're alive, but let's get the ball rolling. And like for me, like changing the narrative of what women see themselves as, like marketing. I don't know how, I feel like marketing people are like secondary to lawyers sometimes. They're very market all these like women things for women to buy, and it's like, but is that I mean, I feel like that's so deceiving. I'm like,
and are a lot of those products even really necessary? Just
like these beauty products, do we need another lotion? Like, do we need another this? And then, it's funny because I think about plastic. I have a thing with plastic. Plastics are dangerous to our world and our environment. Why do we keep using it? I try to go as less plastic as possible, but it's like everything is in plastic.
You're preaching to the choir here. I love that. I hate plastic. And I actually have an aversion now when I see the super unnecessary stuff, like those flats of the individual bottled water that people buy for $4 And I'm like,
they never drink it all anyway.
Please get to drink half the bottle and then it's sitting someplace or you find it smashed on the road.
It drives like
Number one, there's sure, I know they say it's fine, but I'm sure there's plastic leaching into that tiny little bottle of water.
Yeah.
And now you're drinking
how long has that water been sitting in that bottle that's been sitting in the factory or the warehouse?
And I know I live in Southern California, which is drought central constantly. And we had Nestle pumping water from our water source to put in those tiny little bottles of water. A minute? How is this happening?
Those kind of little things. I get nervous when we had a little bit of a drought here in the Chicagoland area, probably a month or two ago. And then we had like a pouring rain. But I was nervous that my ponds were going to dry up.
Oh.
I get nervous about like, what about the fish? And,
right? Well, it is. I mean, it's just a small little microcosm of what's going on everywhere if you think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or how we don't really know how to recycle.
No. And they say, oh, it's recyclable, but really, is there a recycling center anywhere near in my area? Is it actually going to make it to a recycling center, or is it going to be a landfill someplace? Yeah. Or I know I live by the ocean, so is it going to end up in the ocean because the wind blew it? Yeah, I don't know. That is.
These are the things that keep me up at night sometimes and wake me up, and I'm like, oh my God, what's the plastic?
Well, in reality, we as consumers can only do so much. It's the big corporations that need to get on board, but it definitely starts with us. If we stop buying the stuff, they will, in theory, stop making it.
Yes. And I love these new companies that are going plastic free, like laundry detergent.
Yes, I'm seeing a lot more of that. I've been using a product called Drops for a while, but there's a lot more of the paper. They're like paper.
Yes.
Like, yes.
I like that. Or the toothpaste where it's like a little pill, you like chew it and then you brush your teeth. There's no plan. I love that. Whoever invented that gets a kudos from me because I think that's awesome.
So yes, I know I went on anti-plastic bender at the beginning of all this when, I'm just looking at the way we're living and I am consuming a lot of plastic. Hair products was my first, but I have a backlog because it's on sale. I'm going to grab two. And so I'm currently working through my surplus and then switching to bar soap. I'm going to start testing bar shampoos.
Ooh.
I'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah, let me know. One of the powerlifters that I follow, her name is Jen Thompson. She did like a quick little video of what she uses. And she uses bar shampoo. I think it's Lush brands. Their stuff smells really good.
I'm writing that down. And since you said powerlifting, I have always been curious. How did you get involved in powerlifting? Okay, people. And she like powerlifting, like big, heavy things. If you go check out her Instagram, because there's some.
How did I get into powerlifting? So I've always, this is kind of, I don't know if I ever told you this, but back in the day, I was dating this dude who, he introduced me to a gym that had like these big weights and stuff like that. And I actually thought I wanted to do bodybuilding. So I was lifting and he actually kind of like on a roundabout manner told me to stop lifting because I was getting bigger than him. He used to measure my arms. He used to measure my
He's like, okay, no.
Yes. So he's, you're getting a little bit bigger than I am. So back in the day, I was just like, okay, fine. I won't do it. But I've always dabbled in some kind of fitness, some kind of whatever. I've always have had a connection to lifting the heaviest dumbbell ever. There's like 100-pound dumbbell. I'm like, I want to see if I can lift that. So I just would go and like, and then lift it. But I always knew I was physically strong somehow. I just didn't know exactly where. And in 2019, I was tying up my boots for work and I was like, oh my God, I can't breathe. I was getting a little fluffy in the middle. And then instead of going, I'm going to go do cardio, I'm going to do powerlifting. I went to the gym and I saw like who the trainers were. And there was this one girl who she competed, and it was something that was really, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. Sure. I'm going to try it. Whatever. And she started training me. And then she actually was, Laarni, you should try to do a mock meet. Have you ever thought about competing? I have. I've always wanted to compete in something, but I'm too scared. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, if you try this like trial meet, like a mock meet, why don't you do it? So I worked with her for a little bit, and I transitioned to another coach because she ended up going to grad school. So I looked for another coach, and that was in March 2019. And then November 2019 was when I did that mock meet, and it was the best experience I've ever had. I was, holy crap. I mean, it was the feeling of the bar, feeling of the community and all the ladies around, and nobody really wants you to fail. They cheer you on.
Everyone cheering you on. Yeah.
Everyone cheering me. Even if you don't make the lift, you still had people are, oh no, next time. And it was the best community. And at that time, my life, I needed that. I needed an outlet because I was working so much that I needed like another outlet that didn't have to do anything with working. And so I got into powerlifting, and ever since then, I fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with the community. I fell in love with how it pushes my brain. Everyone thinks it's physical, like muscles and stuff, but how mentally fatiguing it can be because the technique, what am I going to do? And then you have to, it's like a lot of like mental math. You're like, okay, that's 5 pounds. So if I do this, it's just a lot of mental challenge. And I think that's what I love about it the most is that even when you see this weight and you're like, I don't think I can do it. And then you get up and you trust yourself and you trust your technique, and then you do it and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And that's how it got me my last meet. I told my coach I wanted to deadlift, which is from the ground up to my thigh. I wanted to be in the 400 club. Ooh. And I told him, don't tell me my waist. I'm just going to do it because it helped me. It helped with the trust in myself. And when I was able to do the 402, wow, I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. So I knew I had more in me anyway, but
that is amazing.
Amazing.
402 pounds.
Yeah.
Yikes.
402 pounds.
And I have to admit, like I have to recognize you had your logo, you said, for 2 years. Yeah. So you had your logo prior to you starting the powerlifting?
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting how it all just kind of flows together?
Yes.
Your strength, your inner strength, your strong and mighty movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting just because I've always wanted to have something like, I actually thought I was going to have a podcast about lifting or fitness or something. And now it's kind of morphed into something totally different. And I'm so glad that I didn't resist the universe telling me this. And I followed through with it, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is my life. This is where I'm supposed to be.
I feel if we pay attention to the signs that it's trying to lead us where we're supposed to go.
Yes.
I think a lot of times in our stubbornness or our busy, we don't notice the signs. So I am so thankful that you followed the signs and you're doing this. This is awesome.
Thank you. It's been fun. And I mean, look at it. It's allowed me to talk to someone in California on an island. You know what I'm saying? It's these crazy connections. I'm very grateful because if I never wanted to start my podcast, I wouldn't have met you.
This is true.
So there's a connection. We are connected somehow. Somewhere the universe is like, here, oh, whoop, okay, you guys.
Well, and a lot of the people that I've met over this past year are all searching and looking and trying to find something to better themselves. And I feel like when we're bettering ourselves, we're going to better the world around us and be better citizens and members of our communities, because I think it's inevitable when we're heart-centered.
100% agree.
So.
I mean, the way I found my calling, honestly, I really had to look inside myself and solve the problem for me. I had to see what was missing in my life and fill it with things that were missing. And I don't know, sometimes I see people, they just want to fill what's outside of them. They want to feel like, Oh, I know that's a problem. I'm going to solve that. But is it important to you? Because if you're just kind of doing it, it's going to lose its flair like after a little bit, and you're not going to keep going. But if it's something that's passionate and something that you feel like you have a value and purpose to share, people go through it, and then their attitudes are different. They love it, and their words and their actions match, and it's like, but it's, you can say all this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but then your actions don't match. It's like,
And I feel like when it is your passion or a calling, you're less likely to give up when you hit the first, roadblock or hurdle.
100%.
I think it's scary for a lot of people. I know it's scary for me. It gives you a little bit more resiliency and staying power.
Yeah, 100%. I for me, I'm just like, bring on the success.
You're ready. I'm big chicken. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Let's go. Let's do this, because I've waited way too long, and they say tomorrow's not guaranteed. So, you know what? I want to take every opportunity possible. If it's, talking in front of a stage with 1,000 people, and I'm going to be scared shitless to do it, I'm going to do it.
That's impressive.
I mean,
I'm okay in my little office with my microphone, but I don't know if I'm ready for the stage yet. But I have been called to, like, I do believe that we all have a role to play in making these changes in our world.
I don't know if you're big on affirmations, but I tell myself like really cool things about myself every day. That may seem a little narcissistic, but I'm not projecting it on other people. I'm just doing it for myself to build myself up. And so I'm like today I just wrote something. I'm like, you are worthy of this.
We can all use the reminder. And I feel like there's a power in hearing it in your own voice.
Yes. Somebody told me one time, like, he gave me this book, which really influenced me a lot. It's called The Go-Giver. I don't know if you've read it, but it's about the circle of giving and taking, and taking. And if somebody gives you $5 and say, hey, you know what, here, this is for the coffee that you bought me or whatever, take it. Don't say, no, it's good, it was on me. It's because like you're breaking the circle of giving.
Okay.
And even though it's a little kind of, they like want to pay you back, or you're like, no, don't break your circle of giving. All these chains are together, they interloop. And so you don't break the chain.
So then you have the opportunity to then give to somebody else.
Yes. Yeah. So
that's a good point.
So when somebody's like, hey, Laarni, here's the $20 that you loaned me. I'm like, thank you. I'll take it. Thank you. That even goes with compliments and people who say, hey, you know what? I love the way your glasses look. Oh, and they're like, oh, it's like, no, just say thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. That was, and I see a lot of people struggle with, myself included, to deflect, or I usually make a wise ass remark because I think I'm hilarious.
And here I am, thanks. And I have a teammate who, like, she always catches me flexing, and like we're at the gym, and when I'm feeling like I had a good like lift day and I'm feeling really swole, and I'm just like, she's like, are you checking yourself out? I go, yes, I am.
Worked hard for these.
That's right. It's like, okay, yes, I'm acknowledging myself and my hard work. So yes, thank you.
That is awesome. That is a great message too. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Who else is going to be your cheerleader? If during the COVID times, there weren't many cheerleaders around because we were all at home.
We're all trying to manage ourselves.
So it's like, who else is going to be my cheerleader? It's going to be me. So I've kind of learned that throughout this whole experience of mine is I have to talk myself. I have to talk to myself kindly. I have to boost myself up because sometimes there's not going to be anyone around to boost myself up.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
What was your COVID time like?
COVID time was, honestly, I thought it was going to be the most stressful time when it came to employment and stuff like that. But when I decided to become an entrepreneur, my mindset changed to, yes, I am busy, but I'm busy building my business, and there were a lot of things that were busy that I had to put aside. I had to actually put on my CEO board of directors mind, because I was like, okay, Laarni, nope, that's not part of your work. That's not part of your work. This you got to do, this you got to do. And it actually helped me organize my purpose a little bit more, because in the beginning I was very scatterbrained. I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But then when I got a little bit more clarity of the direction that I wanted, I was picking and choosing. No, I can't do that summit. Yes, I can talk to you. No, I don't want to do that because it's not driving me to where my initial goal is. I mean, my goals have changed, but those goals that I had in the beginning have morphed into a different goal. So every time I've learned that, and I've accepted that, because it's been a part of building my business, so COVID times is, besides business, like, I had to get my own gym in the basement because the gyms went open.
Yeah,
so like, my husband and I built like a closet of a powerlifting gym down in the basement. So we used that. My sister had COVID, so I didn't see her for 2 months. And we see each other like every weekend. It was hard to not see her. But COVID times, honestly, I took advantage of the time. I mean, what else was I going to do?
Well, and that's, I think, is so important, that I've heard it said the opposite of depression isn't happiness, it's purpose. And having a purposeful life, it just makes it so much easier to keep moving forward. And the other thing about what you were saying that struck me was the intentionality. A lot of the messaging from New World Normal is setting intentions on what kind of world do we want. And you, with having the intention of, I'm building this business, this is what I want it to look like. Okay, is that going to serve it? Or is that going to serve us? Like, intentionally choosing the next steps to get you closer to your goal is such a big part of, I think, moving forward as a whole for all of us. Yeah. Deciding the plastic bottles, like, is that flat of water really going to get me closer to having a better environment?
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not gonna lie. I still have a delivery service for my water.
I do too. Is that bad? I feel like that's better. Like, okay, they reuse those bottles, right?
I was gonna say, but they refill those bottles, so I'm good. But here's the funny thing is, I actually got to know my water bottle delivery guy.
There you go. See, because you're making friends everywhere.
I hear his truck pull up, and if I forget to bring the bottles, I run downstairs. And I'm sorry, and he said, "That's okay. I'll see you next time." So
I feel like that was one of the best investments I made in the last 5 years. Was one of those water dispensers that does hot, cold, and room temperature water.
Oh, see, I just do room temperature.
Oh,
I have sensitive teeth, so I don't.
Well, I can make tea and coffee with the hot.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Java. Like, you drink coffee.
Yes. Yeah. I got to start a show. I got to start a coffee show during COVID, my coffee show. I honestly did not think it was going to go past 5 episodes. And now it's going into the second season. It's been really cool, really busy, because it's all just exposure for me to like let people know who I am. And that's kind of like my big goal, was to, let people know who I am and my purpose is. And now it's getting there. I mean,
people are getting the message.
I've hit 300 followers. It's like, yes.
It's hard when you're doing it organically. It's not like I'm going to go buy followers. And
I know. I didn't even know that existed.
But you don't want to do that anyways.
I don't, but I just like, that really exists. People really do that? Oh, I did not know that. How? I feel like there's better ways to spend your money besides buying followers.
Definitely. And your point is to make an impact, not have more followers. So you'd rather have the 5 people that are actually listening and engaged than the 5,000 people that aren't really there.
It is. COVID. See what
Who,
COVID does?
who
COVID
would have
did.
known?
Who would have known? Who would have known I'd be talking to
Well,
you?
that's kind of where, because I think it's my contrary nature, or just to question. If someone's going to tell me, oh, this is going to be terrible, I'm going to be like, is it? Is it really terrible? Can we try and spin that a little bit? And so when everyone's like, oh, the new normal, it's never going to be the same again. We're going to have to do this and this and this. What if we found some good things
What if
about
these
the new normal?
are the good things?
Yeah. What if, yeah.
Like what if maybe we needed this change.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we needed this like a reset of our minds, and maybe it takes us out of the conveyor belt of life. And actually, hey, there are things out in the world that I actually enjoy. Interesting.
Yeah. Definitely takes us off that autopilot and really gets us contemplating, what am I doing? What is this all about? Is this really how I want to spend my life? And the shortage of employees.
Mm-hmm.
People just don't want to go back.
People want to start their own businesses now, and people want to do something else with their life, because then all of a sudden, they've been working for the same company for 30 years. And then they're just like, where did my life go?
Right. And they realize that they're dispensable. Another person could come along and they would just do the job. And it's, where is the meaning and the purpose, the feeling of, I want to do something purposeful.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But let's see what else. I love my garden,
that's right. That's another.
My garden.
Yes. I shared that in our group because it was so inspirational.
I've noticed that I think I need to change the soil out of my garden. The nutrients are not there. So my zucchini is taken off, but my cauliflower is getting eaten by a pest. I don't know what it is, but that is happening. But like my tomatoes aren't taking, and I'm going to blame my neighbor across my garden, because he's always spraying stuff on his lawn.
Oh.
I don't know what it is he's spraying, but he's spraying it, and there's no bees, there's no birds, there's no anything. And I'm like, I need these bees to pollinate my garden. And so I think he's just, and I blame him. I'm going to blame him for why my garden is not doing as well as it did before. And I think it's because of my neighbor.
You got to start sharing information with him about how bad all that stuff is, because it's important to pay attention to that stuff. Like you noticing that there are no bees and birds, and that's not good for any of us.
There's a ton of rabbits. We've got a ton of rabbits, but there's no bees. There's no birds. And then somebody actually told me the other day that we don't need bees. And I was just like,
what?
Yeah. He said they're actually more harmful than helpful.
Oh my goodness. Well, that sounds like our work is not done. We need to keep spreading the word on inner strength and the need for bees.
I am pro bee. As much as people hate bees, I am pro bee. If I could have chickens and stuff in my yard, I totally would. They're not allowed here in my neighborhood.
Oh.
Then I want, eventually my vision is to have 8 to 10 acres where I can have a goat or two.
We had goats when I was younger. I love goats.
Yeah, so they're so stinking cute. Maybe a mini cow. I don't know, but I just want some, nature of animals and stuff like that around me. And
well, are you ready for my final zinger question?
Yes, I love zinger questions.
If you had a magic wand and could make anything normal in our society, what is it? What would you normalize in the new world normal?
Oh, what would I normalize? I would normalize being able to walk around naked. I mean, it's always, to me, it's not just the sexuality thing.
Well, that we do have the hold up on bodies in our society. And because we're always sexualizing them.
It's just the body.
It's just what houses our organs and our bones and what lets us move around.
I think that what drives me to answer that way is because this new trend right now, this hot girl summer, and the stigma of bigger women not being hot. And I'm like, I know I'm hot. It's like the normalizing bodies.
Bodies that come in all shapes and sizes, right?
Sizes, colors, whatever. You know, if I had a magic wand, that's what it would be like. Just like, hey, Debbie, hey, Laarni. And we're just walking around with, you know, like our nips hanging out and all that stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, our clothes would be our bushes. That's it.
Just because it's cold, because you will have to wear clothes when it's cold. I mean, you're near Chicago, so I know it gets cold. The normalizing of the breast, like boobs are boob shaped. They're not perfect round mounds on a woman's chest.
They're not made out of silicone. They're made out of, you know, lots of ligaments and fat. So, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't understand sizing for women. You know, like our clothes sizing. I don't understand that at all. Courtney Olson, she had a video that said, sizing for women was made by a man who said, if they can't fit the clothes, then they got to sew it. You know, where did that idea of normalizing sizes come from? Like, I don't get it.
Well, and especially now when it's so glamorized to be the smaller, and that's not normal. Normal and average is much bigger. Didn't Victoria's Secret recently switch to normal sized women?
Yeah.
And people were upset. And I just didn't.
I'm like, angels are big too.
Yeah. I couldn't believe, because when I first heard, I was so excited. Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. And then people were upset about it. Sometimes it's better just not to go on the internet and look at the comments.
That would probably be another magic wand thing. If I had a magic wand, the internet would be a safer place.
Yeah. Can't we just have kind, constructive comments?
Can we just, instead of like, I'm going to kill you. You know, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Relax, dude. Relax. It's okay. It'll be all right.
Normalizing bodies and kind comments on the internet. I like it.
Yes. That's my magic wand.
I would just like to say thank you again for coming and chatting. It's been fun.
Yes.
I was really worried about us getting off to tangents, and I don't think we did such a bad job.
We were good.
We stayed on topic.
We were good.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our show. If you enjoyed what you heard, feel free to subscribe and leave us a review. If you didn't enjoy what you heard, reach out to us. Let us know how we can make it better. This show is really about all of us, not just me and my guests, but how can we all make this world a little better. If you'd like to connect with us in other ways, be sure to check out our Instagram account. And we also have a free Facebook community that participates in monthly get-togethers, and we work through challenges and have meaningful conversations about important topics, all in a space that is safe, supportive, and encouraging. So join us. And if you'd like to show us more support, you can check out our intentional apparel shop online, New World Intentions. You'll find t-shirts, hats, totes, all with positive messaging to help you move mindfully through your day and help create that new world normal. I hope you enjoyed that roller coaster of a conversation. I'm not sure if you can tell, but Laarni and I really have a good time when we get together. Here are a few takeaways from our conversation. Takeaway number 1, don't be afraid to try something new. Harnessing your inner strength may be as close as a Google search or a YouTube tutorial. Number 2, Hail Mary requests sometimes get fulfilled, so you might as well go for it. Number 3, when doors keep closing, maybe something bigger is on the horizon. When in doubt, just go get your hair done. Number 4, the new normal is about meaningful conversations, listening to connect and understand, not to respond. Number 5, limit your plastic consumption whenever and however possible. Number 6, trying to find your passion? Start with a problem that you've solved for yourself and then go from there. Number 7, if someone gives you something, whether it's a compliment or $5, take it with gratitude, but don't miss the opportunity to pay it forward. Be a go-giver. And number 8, never miss an opportunity to flex. It's important to acknowledge your hard work. Thanks again for tuning in, and be sure to check the show notes for all the ways that you can connect with Laarni. She has her next Standing in Strength Summit coming up in November. And be sure to tune in next week, where we'll be having more meaningful conversation about the new world normal.